Welcome, viewers. My name is Brady. You're watching Nerdish. Tonight we're covering two different things as usual. For science, we're covering how to read graphs with two axes in the science section of the ACT. And for math, Brendan will be covering function notation.
Yeah.
That'll be it for me for now.
All right. Yeah, I'm going to start. Levi's also here.
I'm here. I'm doing nothing.
Yeah, he's taking the night off. He's still here, though.
I'm here.
He'll be answering questions at the end, and he'll be making sure to correct us if we make simple mistakes.
Too honest.
All right. Function notation. Actually, I'll go ahead and jump into it and kind of give a brief overview before we go into practice problems. So if you don't know what I mean when I say function notation, there's a chance you've actually done it. You just don't know that it's called function notation. I think I spelled that right while talking the whole way through. Great. Function notation is just a fancy way of writing y equals mx plus b, or y equals anything, really. But it's going to look like f of x equals something. All right, this is function notation. It could be g of x, h of x, so on and so forth. The reason we have f, g, and h, that's kind of what it normally is. That's usually what they'll start with. You'll see f of x. It's kind of easy to remember that function notation is f of x, but it can also be g of x, h of x. Doesn't really matter. All right, but what this means, how this is represented, or maybe why the notation is a little peculiar. Let's say we have f of x equals x squared plus x plus 5. Now, what I do, or what I can do, is I can say, well, what is f of 2? All right, what is that? What does that mean? That means I'm plugging in 2 for every value of x. And then I just evaluate it. If I have x squared, that's now 2 squared. I'll go ahead and actually write this out. All right, 4 plus 2 plus 5, and we get 11. This is how you evaluate it. At its very basic here, it's simple. All right, maybe not easy, but it's simple. Ways they can make this a little more complicated. Let's go ahead. Actually, I'll just move over. If they give you that f of x equals, let's go ahead and say f of x equals, I'll do x squared, just x squared for now. And then they ask you to find f of x plus 1. How do you do that? All right, this is confusing because we have x already, and now we have another x. What do we do? It's the same principle. It's the same rule we did here. I'm just going to plug this whole thing here in to x. Now I have x plus 1 squared. It can get a little confusing, especially if they give you something kind of gross in here like this. But this is what you're supposed to do with it. You just go and follow the rules. All right, you see that it's function notation. Whatever is in here is just replacing the variable. Now I can evaluate this, and I end up with x squared plus 2x plus 1. And that is my answer. It's okay that it is still in terms of x. I still have variables, and I don't have a number or a value. That's fine. If there are any questions on this, let me know. If you guys have any questions at all, let us know. We can add it to the queue. For those of you watching, I think we've got it now set up. So we're streaming on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, and Twitch. And I believe right now on every single one of those, if you click on the description, or if you scroll down, you can see a link to our Discord, our calendar, and the current test we have up. If you're on YouTube and Twitch, you can see links to our other social media platforms. Facebook only allows us to put so much in the title. So for now, that is a link to the practice test we're going to pull up here in a moment, our calendar so you can see what topics we're covering on any given day, and our Discord app where most of the students end up asking questions. All right, this is more or less the basics. I'll go over one more thing that also tends to be tricky for students that they'll most likely put on the test. And for starters, function notation is on both tests. It tends to be more common on the SAT than the ACT. For example, on the practice tests we have below, the ACT, I think there's only one practice problem or one function notation problem, but in SAT 2, I think there's maybe 5 or 6. So This is a little bit more geared towards SAT, but you will see this on the ACT as well. Something they might say, this is actually a practice problem I have written on the side. So they might have f of x. Well, I'll just do this simply to begin with. F of x equals x plus 2. G of x equals 2x. And then what they're going to do is maybe a little confusing, and maybe it doesn't. Feel free to comment in what you think. But f of g of 4. All right, we're trying to solve for that. We're going to go ahead and break this down a little bit, because looking at it here, it might be really confusing, especially if this is the first time you've seen function notation. You might be thinking, I don't know what to do. Well, we work from the inside out, almost as if it's PEMDAS, right? Everything in the parentheses, I kind of want to think of it that way. So I know that right here I have g of 4. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and solve that. G of 4, because I'm familiar with this, I'm just going to plug in 4, and I'm going to get 2 times 4, or 8. What I do now is I plug this 8 back in, so I now have f of 8. And that's because g of 4 evaluates to 8. Then I solve f of 8, and I get 8 plus 2, or 10. This works if I have h of x, L, M, N of x, and I have a very long thing. It's the same process. You just work from the middle and keep going out. Again, any questions, let us know. Also, if I didn't already say so, hey Waldo, how are you? Waldo the bear. Brady, I'm going to go ahead and start erasing this. I think I have it already pulled up to the correct spot.
Okay.
If you want to pull up the test for me. We're going to go ahead and do some practice problems here.
Number 14.
Yeah, 14. Thank you. So I'll go ahead and erase this. It's going to be 14 right here. Let me circle that real quick so you guys can start looking at that while I... Dang it. Better?
Yay!
All right. That's the one we're working on. Go ahead and, if you want, while I'm wiping this up so we can see, clean it up, see if you're comfortable with it, see if you know what to do. Feel free to post your answer. Or if you're confused, you don't know what it is, feel free to ask. All right. The question says, the function f of x is defined as f of x equals negative 8x squared. What is f of negative 3? This is from the ACT. So this is, I believe on this test, this is the only one I found. You know what, Waldo? I'll do it pretty well. Thank you for asking. I appreciate that. Let's see. We have f of x equals negative 8x squared, and we want f of negative 3. We just went over how we would do this, so I'll go ahead and rewrite it. I have f of x equals negative 8x squared, and I want to solve for f of negative 3. Now, what I'm going to do is simply plug in that negative 3 to where x was. I'm going to say negative 8 times negative 3 squared. All right, now this is important because I'm keeping the negative 3 inside the parentheses here, because negative 3 is what's being squared. All right, that's going to end up giving us a positive number when I square it. This is going to end up with, good, still there, negative 8 times 9, or negative 72. And that is A, right up here. All right. If there are any questions, let me know. If not, we will continue. And Brady, that's actually the last one I have with the overlay.
All right.
The rest of them I just have things written down.
Very good.
We may have a little lag here, guys.
Okay.
Maybe not. All right. Well, no. Take the overlay off. I still have practice
my
problems.
gosh.
I'm just done with this overlay.
This is a disaster.
It's fine.
It's not.
Well,
Right,
then you
right.
should have done better. All right, and we can't go back now.
I'm sorry.
You will be. Levi, I leave it to you. Levi, I leave it to you.
Yes.
You have all stream to think of a punishment. I personally prefer public ridicule.
Oh, we're gonna tar and feather you, bird.
Because he's a bird. He already has
Exactly.
feathers.
We're
He
gonna
doesn't
feather.
need
We're
more.
gonna tar him, and we're gonna pluck his feathers, and then put them back
Also, if
on
you guys
him.
have questions, if you have specific problems from a test, feel free to post them in our Discord. For anyone watching, that is down below or in the title if you're on Facebook. This next question, we have a 0.36 is a solution to f of x. Is that big enough? Maybe. I'll make sure to write this a little bit bigger. Equals 3x squared minus bx plus 12. What they're asking us to do here is to find b. Maybe you know what you do, maybe you don't. Something I may have said, if not, I might have skipped over it. A way to think of this is y equals f of x. Your y value is equal to f of x. It's the same thing because this is going to be equal to whatever this expression is, you know, x whatever, right? It's good to think about f of x as y. Why that's going to be helpful here is I'm given an x and a y value that are a solution to this, meaning that if I plug in a 3 for x, all the x's, and a 6 for the y, or in this case f of x, this should come out to be equal on both sides. And that's how I'm going to solve for b. So if I go ahead and do that, I have 6 equals 3 times 3 squared minus b times 3 plus 12. Now I just evaluate. I have 6 equals 27 minus 3b plus 12. I'm going to add that over, divide everything by 3. I will slow it down a little bit, actually. So 3b equals, let's add, so we subtract the 6 over, and I added the 3b over. I'm going to do those at the same time, and I'm going to combine these. I'm going to combine those, subtract 6, add 3. Make sense? So I should get 33, and now I have b equals 11. Brady, can you see on my computer, are there any comments through Facebook, or are we good? Great. All right. If that makes sense, I will continue on. There's one more I want to go over. Okay. Feel free to stop me at any time. Chat. Well, thank you, Waldo, for letting me know. Is there anything you need to work on, Waldo? Any specific topics? Because right now you're the only one commenting and asking questions or letting us know that you're familiar with this and don't have questions on it. If there's any topics you'd like to cover, we can add those to the queue. This next question, Brady, I'm going to need to snag my computer. Can you bring that up for me? Yeah. I'm pulling this from another test because I like how it's asked. Okay, thank you.
You want me to hold it?
I got it.
Okay.
Thanks. All right. This one is from one of the practice SATs, one of the ones that the College Board has out for free. But they have a function graphed, and I'm going to do my best now to graph this in a way that's not ugly. So we have the origin, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so we have a point here, here, here to here, and then here. And they are all connected. And you have y equals f of x. That is given as the line. What they're asking is, which of the following are equal to 1? Okay? We're given f of negative 4, f of 3 halves, and f of 3. Thank you, Brady. I'm going to hand this back to you now.
Of course.
Thanks. Now, at first, this might seem a little confusing, and that's fine. We want to look at this and kind of remember what we had talked about previously, but also looking at this, they kind of give us a hint. Okay, they say that y equals f of x. And we already understand, hopefully now, if you've been watching the whole time, what function notation is and how to approach this, how I could write this out. I have the f of negative 4 is something, okay? And I'm trying to find which of these are equal to 1. So what I really want here is f of negative 4, is that equal to 1? F of 3 halves, is that equal to 1? And the same with f of 3. Is that equal to 1? Robot Dancer has a question on the Discord. Thank you. Let's add that up. Great, thanks. We want to go and solve this. Now, what we do know here is that our value in the parentheses is our x value, okay? These are all our x terms. Meaning, I'm looking at f at negative 4, or y at negative 4. I'm looking at it at 3 halves, which is going to be 1, 2, just 1.5, so kind of in between there, and at 3, so 1, 2, 3. Let's make those a little bigger so they're easier to see. Great. Now, the value over here is what this f of 4 equals, what this function equals, which is our y value. So is our y value at any of these points equal to 1? That's what this is asking. So f at negative 4, this is 1. So that works. That's good. How about at 3 halves, 1.5? We go up. That is equal to 1. That's good. And at 3, it is, because that's a solid point that's given there, that is also equal to 1 at that point. Therefore, we know all 3 of these are true. If you have any questions on that, let me know. If not,
Robot Dancer's question is irrelevant.
Is relevant? Okay.
Yes.
If not, we'll go over Robot Dancer's question, and then if there are no more questions on this topic specifically, we will go to Brady and talk about answering your questions after that when you're free.
I'm going to start drawing.
Okay, let me erase this then. It's on your side. Oh no. I'm going to try not to erase what you've already drawn. Give me 2 seconds.
Okay, Robot Dancer's question. It gives us this graph. I'm not going to last long here, by the way. Gives us this graph of an odd function, which, if you know, actually helps in this problem, but you don't have to know it necessarily. It's a negative 2 here. And the question is, for what values of x you want this to be true? F of x, you just erase that right there.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Do you mind if I take over?
Yeah, not at all. Okay, so this is the question. For what, I should write it down here. For what value of x?
So what are all of the values of
question.
x for which f of x equals f of negative x? Okay. Oh.
Yeah, it's fun. Do you want me to do it or no?
I like this.
Okay.
Yeah. This is interesting.
Yeah, maybe ask Robot Dancer if they're just...
Yeah,
Can you
Robot
give us
Dancer.
time from,
What about this problem was confusing to you? Was it the fact that this is a positive and a negative x? Or was it the graph itself?
They got it right in
They got
the
it right?
picture, but I don't know.
Oh,
what that
okay.
means.
But let me know. I'm going to go ahead and just kind of start walking through it. But let us know what confused you specifically, and we can touch on that. When I look at this, the first thing intuitively I want to think, and this is incorrect, but just to let you know, I think that, oh, I'm looking at this to be negative, so I want it to be flipped. All right, I want it to be the opposite. And if I think about it, well, this is always the opposite, right? So these points are opposite. It's almost like I mirrored it. That's not really what we're going for, though. So don't let that trick you up. That's something that when I first looked at this, that's what I thought the question was asking. Be sure to be clear about the directions, what they're asking.
Yeah, you guessed. So.
Yeah, even the concept, and you guessed. Well, kudos to you for guessing correctly. But yeah, the point is to do what you're doing, asking questions about it, and learn how to solve for this. So for what value or values of x is f of x equal to f of negative x? Well, that is asking us, is y of negative x equal to y of x? That means is the y value at x, any x value that's positive, equal to the same, is it equal to the y value of that same x if it's negative? Meaning, let's just throw in some values here. So y of 0 equals y of 0. That's an easy one. That's one that is going to be true no matter what, because it's y of 0 and y of 0. So we know that's good. Let's keep going, though. Let's just go whole points here. So if I do y of negative 1, is that equal to y of 1? All right, so this is what we're looking for. We said that this one is good. Well, let's look at this. At negative 1, x of negative 1, I am right here. At x of positive 1, though, I am down here. Those 2 points are not equal. So that does not work. Okay? Let's keep going. Y of negative 2, is that equal to y of 2? Well, at 2 I'm at 0, and at negative 2 I'm at 0. I like that. Those work. Now, something that might trick you here is that means your value for x is 2. You can also plug in the value of negative 2, and it would still work. Robot Dancer, does that make sense? Or anyone watching right now, let me know if that doesn't make sense. Because it's a positive and a negative here, that means if 2 works, I'll have 2 and negative 2, and I can plug in negative 2 to get negative 2 and 2. Right? So it'll be the same answer, the same 2 points, but my value of x is actually 2 different values there. Yeti Man and 0. Yes, we said 0 works right here. Thank you. And yeah, I'll just draw a dot up here so we know we've evaluated it. Thanks. It makes sense. Thanks. Great. And then you know that as this point continues to the right, it is getting larger, and as the graph continues to go to the left, in terms of its x values, the y is decreasing. So there's at no point will these 2 values be the same again. So we know here we're done. But what you're really looking for is where, really in this range, where between here are the y values the same? And the only places are actually when they cross the x-axis, at least here. That's when it is. If there are no other questions, I think Brady will come up here and start working on science. Okay. Graphs with 2 y-axes.
You want an overlay? Oh, you got one.
I already got it. Hey guys.
Nice.
I'm gonna let Brennan take one more second.
Oh yeah, don't mind me cleaning up while you just stand there. Don't want to do that.
No,
Get closer?
well, I'm letting him clean up.
Robot, yes, that is the ACT.
Sad.
Well, the science section is ACT. The math problems, function notation is on both. It's more prevalent in the SAT, but it can show up on both.
Okay, guys,
It
we're
will show up
talking
on both.
about interpreting graphs that have 2 y-axes. What I mean by that is not what you're looking at right here.
Okay.
What you're looking at right here is a graph that has the same y-axis on both sides, just to make it easier for you. If you're going to look at, this point right here, it's kind of annoying to go all the way back here to find its y value of, around 1.5. So they make it easy for you just by putting it on the other side as well, okay? These are the same thing. You can tell as well, there are no labels on the right side. There's no, they have like monthly wet deposition. There's no label for what's going on over here. It's just the same exact numbers, okay? Contrast that with the next passage. Brendan, can you go forward?
Yes, sir.
One more.
Just the questions.
One more. This one right here. Okay. We're going to do some questions from this passage here. So take a look at this graph here. We have monthly average cover of middle clouds in percentages. We have 19 through 21. And then we have RCRF in terms of percentages, and we have 0 to 8. Okay? These are two axes that have very different information on it. One more thing about the graph you'll notice is that there's two different lines. Okay? Let's look at the key to figure out what's going on here. The dotted line is the monthly average cover of clouds, and the solid line is RCRF. Whatever that means, we'll see if we need to know when we actually look at the questions. So what that means is if you're going to be reading the data for the monthly average cover of clouds, which is the dotted line, you need to look to the left numbers to read that data, not the right, okay? You better bet that they're going to give you some answers that are from the right axis, as in the incorrect one, but on the right side, because they are checking to see if you're able to follow a key and extrapolate that to the right side of the graph. So if you're going to read anything about the RCRF, which is the solid line, you have to take that to the right side of the graph, not the left side of the graph. So let's take a look at some questions here. Brendan, can you skip forward to the next page?
Same passage?
Yeah, right here. This is good. Okay, so just a reminder, the science passage has a lot of information in it in these passages that you do not need to know for most of the questions. So what we recommend is that you go straight to the questions, read them, find the key terms in them, and let them guide you where to look in the data. A lot of times the questions will be answerable just by looking at the graphs and the tables. You won't need to know what's going on. Trust me, what's going on is probably very boring and hard to understand. It's not that you won't understand it, it's just it's going to take way too long, and you're not going to be able to do most of the science passage if you're reading everything. Let me show you what I mean. Number 13. The percent of Earth's surface covered by high clouds in January 1987 was closest to which of the following, and we get a bunch of percentages. So before we go back to the first page, I'm going to write down some of those key terms. So we want a percent of the surface covered by high clouds in January of 1987. I did not exist yet at that point. Brendan, go ahead and take us back. Okay, let's see. Brendan, can you actually make us go down a little bit? So there are three different graphs on this passage, and they all look very similar in what they have on the bottom. It's all years, and every single line represents January of that year. We've got the same two lines. We've got RCRF, the solid line, then monthly average cover of clouds, the dotted line. The difference between them, if you look at this label on the y-axis, this is monthly average cover of high clouds. Over here, this is low, and then way up there is medium. The question asked us for high clouds. This is the graph we want to look at. So the percent of the surface of the Earth that's covered, well, I'm going to guess that's monthly average cover of clouds and not RCRF. But let's just make sure. I don't know what RCRF means. Let's make sure they don't expect you to know something weird like that. They're going to always give you the definition. Brendan, let's bump us up. Fantastic. RCRF. Let's see where we can find that. RCRF right here. Let's see. The cosmic ray flux. The relative cosmic ray flux. That's RCRF. Okay, that sounds very spacey, and it's not what we're asking about. We're just asking about cloud cover. So I know it's not going to be that. Let's go back. Thank you, Brendan. Okay, so what we're looking at is this graph. We want to look at the dotted line. That's monthly average cover of clouds for January of 1987. So each of these lines represents a year. This is 85, this is 86, this is 87 right here. So this is the right year to look at. Let's find the y value of the dotted line. So we go up, it's right around here. Now remember, here's the kicker. We're going to go to the left side because that is the y-axis that pertains to the dotted line. And if we go straight to the left, apologize if it's not the most straight line you've ever seen. It's my best. 13.5. Let's see if that is an answer. Let's see. All right, 13.5%. That is an answer, okay? So again, I don't really need to know what's going on yet to be able to answer this question. It's just about picking out those important words that let you figure out where you want to go. Okay, let's try another one. Well, let's see. Number 14. Well, yeah, we'll talk about it. Okay. Based on Table 1, a cosmic ray flux of 440,000 particles per meter squared per hour would correspond to a cover of low clouds that is closest to which of the following? Brendan, let's take a look at Table 1. Oh, thank you, Levi.
It is teamwork.
Table 1. Let's see what we have here. Cosmic ray flux, in terms of that unit, and cover of low clouds. Okay, well, it looks like this is exactly where I want to be, because they told me to look at Table 1. They asked us what the cover of low clouds would be for 440,000. Okay, well, let's look at all of our cosmic ray flux data points. We don't have 440,000. It gets close to it, though. As you can tell, it's going up by 20 each time, or rather 20,000. 440,000 would be the logical next one, okay? So when you have questions like this, it's great for you to put a little line or some kind of indicator where this new point would go, so you can see what's happening in the data as you approach that point. So 440,000 is what we're looking at, and it's asking you about the cover of low clouds, what we're going to have when we have 440,000. Let's see if there's some kind of pattern that we notice. Every time we go up by 20,000, let's see, we're going to go up by 0.3, by 0.3, by 0.3, by point. Okay, so this is easy. It's going up by 0.3 every single time. So there's no reason not to believe it's going to do the same thing when we go up one more 20,000. So 29 is going to go up by another 0.3, which is going to give us 29.3. I'm just going to write that right here. 29.3. Brendan, take us back. I'm going to erase this. Do we have 29.3? Give me 29.3. Yes, we do. That is H. Look at that.
Nice.
Look at that. Okay, again, I have not yet gone over what this passage says. All right? So, number 15. Is the statement, the monthly average cover of low clouds is more directly correlated with cosmic ray flux than is the monthly average cover of high clouds, consistent with figures 1 and 3? Key terms here, or at least where we need to look at figures 1 and 3. That means we don't need to look at figure 2. And we're seeing if there's a correlation between the monthly average cover of low clouds and the cosmic ray flux, and then the same correlation with high clouds and the cosmic ray flux of that. So let's take a look at that. Figures 1 and 3. Let's look at figure... Actually, Brendan, can you pull us down?
Yep.
Perfect. Let's look at figure 3 first. I'm going to hop over here. Is there a correlation we see between the monthly average cover of clouds, which is the dotted line, and then the RCRF, which is the solid line? The answer to that is, oh my gosh, yes. These things are following each other really, really closely. Okay? If you compare that to figure 1, there's way more of a disconnection between these lines. In fact, there doesn't seem to be any kind of discernible pattern between these two lines. So the correlation in figure 3 is way stronger than the correlation is for figure 1. Okay, let's keep that in mind. Brendan, we should have like a clicker. I'm sorry to keep... Yeah, let's go back to the questions. Okay, fantastic.
Here it is.
Oh,
at the
no.
top left.
Okay. Actually, I forget exactly how the question's worded. Okay, we're asking if the statement is true. The monthly average of low clouds, that's figure 3, is more directly correlated than high clouds. Yes, it is. Figure 3 has a much higher correlation, so we know it's going to be yes, and it is going to be the plot for monthly average cover of low clouds more closely parallels the plot for RCRF. Yes, that is going to be true, because the plot for the monthly average cover of high clouds. Yep, it's the low clouds that's in figure 3, and that's the one that more closely parallels it. All right, good.
Can I say something?
Yes, come on up.
So I'm going to do this real quick. So something they do a lot, they have these questions quite often here, where you'll have yes, yes, no, no, and then reasons. You'll see that on the English and sometimes the reading as well. But for this, something to notice is that 2 of these questions are going to be contradictory. Okay?
Answers?
Sorry, yes, 2 of the answer options are going to be contradictory. So he said yes because of A, right? Because the plot for monthly average cover of low clouds more closely parallels the plot for RCF, right? Meaning that is what the question initially asked. However, B says, yes, that is true. What this says right here is true because the plot for monthly average cover of high clouds more closely parallels the plot for RCRF, which is incorrect. Okay, and one I haven't read, but either C or D is going to also have a contradiction built in. So that's something that if you have no clue what to do, you can go through and just cross off 2 of these from the get-go.
Yeah. Or the gecko.
The gecko, right.
Yes.
They do that pretty much anytime you have one of these questions, that's going to be what happens. They're going to say, to simplify this, the question is going to say, is the graph red or blue? and it would say yes, yes, no, no, and it'd say yes because it's blue or yes because it's red. Is it blue? Yes because it's red. That doesn't work. You can just cross it off before you even, have to really try to figure it out.
I'm glad you said that. You know why?
Uh-oh.
Because that's completely right.
Hey, thanks.
Yeah.
There you go. I'll let you get back to it.
Very good. Okay. Take us back up, Scotty.
Beam us up.
Yeah. 16. Which of the following figures best represents the monthly average cover of high, middle, and low clouds in January 1992? All right. I'm going to guess. We're going to look at those three figures. One's high, one's middle, one's low. And we're looking at the monthly average cover in January of 92. I was still not born, but oh my gosh, we are getting close. Actually, there's still more than a year. Brendan, take us back. That's, let's see. We'll stay here for right now.
Okay.
All right, so let's look at, this is medium clouds, or middle clouds right here. So January of 92 is going to be, let's see, this is 90, this is 91, 92. It's going to be this right here, and we're asking about the monthly cloud cover. Not RCRF, we're looking at this. Okay, so what is the Y value here? It looks like it's around maybe 20.25. Just to make it easier for myself, I'm going to say 20. We're just going to put, so, I'll put it over here. This is middle clouds. Middle clouds, it's around 20. We don't need to be very specific, and I'll show you why in a second. Let's look down at lower clouds right now. So for lower clouds, 92, which I'm already at the right place for.
Nice.
Oh, that's going pretty well. And we're looking at the dotted line. We go up, it's going to be here. We go over, we get around 28. So low clouds is around 28. And then if we look at here, we're looking at 92. We go up to the dotted line. We go over, come on, give us that. Go over, we get around 13.5. So this is high clouds, 13.5. Okay, so let's go back to the answers. We want to see which one should have the highest bar. We'll start with that. The one that has the largest number is the low clouds. Low clouds should have the highest bar. So just like that, we can get rid of F, we can get rid of H, we can get rid of J. G is the answer here. It is the only one that has low clouds, the highest bar. The lowest bar should be high. That sounds weird and opposite of what it should be. But yes, this is the pattern that we see. Okay, this last one is not necessarily about reading two axes. It's more about scientific reasoning. What do we think? Forget it?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what?
If they have a question about it, we'll definitely cover it.
Yeah, if you guys have a question about 17, we'll talk about it. It's about knowing some outside knowledge about the Celsius scale. Temperature scale, freezing point, boiling point, freezing point 0, boiling point's 100. And knowing where you are if you're above or below that freezing point. Otherwise, we have now mastered two axes on the science section. You guys will not get a single question wrong in any of that. I can personally attest, I've seen the progress that we made today. Well done. Now, we're going to open up some questions. Levi, why don't you come up here?
Come on down.
Come on down. We've been talking about you. Only good things, don't worry. Yeah?
Well,
Yeah, look at your little bed.
Yeah, it's a little bit. I was eating.
Were you?
Markers. Yeah, I was eating
Markers. That's
yeah.
good. Don't do what Levi does. Just do what he says.
And don't do what I do. That's what I'm telling you.
Yes.
It's actually fine. That was fine.
Yeah, okay, there's no contradiction there.
Yep.
I had to think about
Okay.
that for a sec.
I'm here fully prepared for your questions. I did not prepare any spiel because there's no spiel. It's just questions.
There's always a spiel.
It's like a magician.
Hmm?
I don't know what card you're going to pick.
Yes.
It's like you're about to do some kind of
Pick a
magic
marker.
trick.
Here, I won't look. Pick a marker. Okay. You pick the yellow marker. Ah! I said
That's
that.
incredible.
That's deduction.
How about this
Watson.
one?
That's deduction.
Hey, Brendan,
Yeah.
think of a number 1 through 10. You got it?
Got it.
What is it?
7.
I knew it.
Nice. I looked up. There's there was a study that was done. I don't know how involved it was, but it asked a couple hundred people choose a number out of 1 to 10, between 1 and 10, and the average number by a large margin was 7, and 1 and 10 were almost never chosen. Kind of interesting.
I bet that was a very involved study.
All right, for those of you just tuning in, we've covered function notation and how to approach questions on the science section of the ACT where there are graphs with more than one y-axis, right? We have a practice ACT down below. If you're watching through Facebook Live, you can go ahead and look through that, see if there are any problems in there you're not comfortable with. We can cover anything on it. If you have problems from any practice tests you've done, feel free to send them our way. We can also go over that. If you have conceptual questions, if you want to know what you should do the week before the test, because that's going to be next week. If you want to know strategies, so for reading, how do you get through it, whether it's the ACT or SAT, with timing, right? How should you approach each given section, whether it's a history passage or a social science passage? All right, all of these things we can answer. Ask us questions. We have our Discord in the title. If you're on Facebook and YouTube and Twitch, it's in the description. Or if you just scroll down below the video, that's where most of the students ask their questions. They take photos of their practice tests they've done, post it there, and we can answer it. You just along for the ride? Nice. We also do private one-on-one tutoring if that's something you are interested in. However, currently, there's not tons of you guys. Hey, what's up, Storm? So if you want to ask questions here, it's the same thing. We cover the same material we do here in our private sessions. It's just a little less personalized when we're answering questions in this manner. But let us know. Not an active day.
It's a very active day.
I mean, not as active as the football game yesterday, but we just finished our 2 topics. So, Storm, do you have some questions?
We got some questions for us. We'll answer them.
Happy Martin Luther King Jr. Day.
Yes, happy Martin Luther King Jr. Day.
Yeah.
To you and yours. And to your high school SAT taking age children.
Yeah, I always thought it was weird how they said to you and yours, because it's just like they're too lazy to finish it. Like,
it's a classy...
It is. It's just a classy way of being lazy, which I guess is nice. Yeah. We have our calendar listed below or in the title if you're Facebook. You can see what topics we're going to be covering as we continue throughout the month. Feel free to tune in on days you know or you see a topic you're not comfortable with. Feel free to message us in our Discord and say, hey, you said that this is a detailed question for the reading passage. What does that mean? We're very happy to explain any and all of that.
Speak for yourself.
We are very happy to explain any and all of that. Aren't we, Levi?
We're very happy to explain any and all of it. Tips on writing an essay with time constraints. Yes.
Absolutely.
ACT or SAT, Storm?
Also, we had a student, or we had someone reach out to us asking for tips on the SAT writing or essay. So if you're watching, ask us again, and we want to make sure you're here for when we answer that.
Yes, Storm. ACT or SAT? We'll talk about it. If you say nothing, we won't talk about it. It will be one of those things. ACT. Very good. Okay, so Great. Getting started. What's nice is that they get you started because they give you the 3 perspectives. So when if you want to look at the graphic, I sort of drew this out towards the end of the stream yesterday, and you can find that on YouTube or Twitch. But they give you they give you the topic, and then they give you the 3 perspectives. So those perspectives can get you going. They get you a start. If it's maybe okay. So elucidate for me a little bit. Is it you don't know how to plan the essay, or you just don't know how to start?
Have you taken it before? Have you taken one or taken a practice one? Do you know what it's going to be like?
Yeah, because we can talk about the format. I think Storm asked about it yesterday.
I think so.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Did you try it, Storm? Did you try taking one? Let us know. But the perspectives should give you a head start on how you can think about the topic that's given. But don't get swept up by those, because that doesn't necessarily need to be your thesis, one of those perspectives. So let's see. I always forget all of my questions.
Has not practiced one. Has not tried one.
I've not tried one. Okay.
So both meaning what you had asked and what I had asked. Mine was hasn't ever seen it, doesn't really know what it looks like. And yours was what yours was, because I don't remember it. Sorry. Also, just to clarify, or just to, I guess, let you guys know, the essay can be important. Schools do want to see it, but it is much less important than the composite score. And the composite score can arguably be, not overly important. It's something that will get you into it'll get your foot in the door, and then after that it's extracurriculars and your essay, your college application essay that kind of busts the door open. But
Breaks your foot.
yeah, or breaks your foot. Yes, thank you,
Foot's already
Brady.
in the door.
Foot's in the door, so it's either what's going to break your foot or break down the door as your essay. So wear leather boots.
Yeah. Okay. So. Look,
I just was not sure what you were going for.
Yeah. Okay. So,
okay.
Speaking of feet or shoes, or what'd you say?
Your foot in the door.
Your foot indoors. We're talking about leather boots. So that's the topic of this essay. They give you a little bit of information. This is the prompt that they'll give you on the ACT. They'll talk about leather boots, and they'll say people use leather boots, other people don't use leather boots. And they'll say, okay, perspective 1 says bad for animals. So you shouldn't wear leather boots because they're bad for animals. And perspective 2 says tradition. So leather boots are traditionally worn by people. I don't know when. Cowboys?
Wear boots?
Yes, leather boots.
Yeah.
Are there leather boots? What am I saying? Yes.
Yeah.
I
mean, also
cows wear, dude.
fancy. That's what cows wear. Thank you. No, that was good, Brady. That was Brady's joke. It was really good. Deep breaths. Deep breaths.
Oh boy.
Yeah, and most people in the financial district, the FIDI, wear leather shoes.
Okay.
Not cowboy boots, but.
Okay, so leather boots. This is the topic, and then one of the perspectives says it's bad for animals. Don't wear them. And the next one says it's part of our American tradition, so whatever. And number 3 says it's good for the economy because it's a whole industry of people making leather boots, and so that's good too. And you have to come up with your own perspective. Okay, so you could say, well, tradition is the most important thing to me, so tradition is the most, to be an American, you got to be traditional, and therefore leather boots. And then you take this perspective and you essentially say, this is my main argument, tradition. Also, partially to keep our traditions going, we need to have a strong economy, and they help a strong economy. And then you say, some people say that they're bad for animals, but there are better ways to help animals than not make leather boots because you just take them off the cows and then you're good. So something like that you could make. That would be your essay, but you have to incorporate these 3 perspectives. Now that's one way, or you could have a totally different thesis. It could be we shouldn't wear boots ever because we are evolving to not have feet. And then you say it's tradition, but everything changes, so who cares? And then the economy, yeah, but we're gonna have to. I have no idea. I mean, this is not a very good thesis if you say that we're not gonna have feet anymore. But that's how you do it. You come up with your own thesis. These get you started, their perspectives, and then you have to incorporate each one. There's no perfect way to do it, but use these somewhere in your body paragraphs. They don't need to be your 3 supporting pieces. Also, they can't be because these essentially say leather boots are good. This one says leather boots are bad. So you can't use all of them to support your idea if your thesis is good or bad. And it might be something else, like we don't have feet or something. But that doesn't really make any sense.
It's scored from 2 to 12. You have 2 people who grade it. That's easier. You can't really see it that way. 2 people that grade it or read it, and you have 2. You have 2. All right. And each one gives it a 1 to a 6, and it's on ideas and analysis. I'm giving what they say.
Yeah.
Development and support, which is just developing your ideas and supporting it, whatever. Organization and language use and conventions. And then, if you want, they will explain what they mean by that on the ACT website. But 2 to 12 is how it's scored.
The argument is the most important part. So if you can analyze things and make your points and make transitions between them, then that's mainly what you need. The intro and conclusion aren't that important. But as an intro, you could say, leather boots have been around for a while, and we use them. And here's what I think about them. And then you go into your supporting stuff. But that's it. You don't need strong, like these intricate introductions and conclusions because they don't care.
Yep.
They're going to skim that part for sure. They're looking for you to make mistakes, so just keep it simple.
So don't make mistakes.
Yes. Storm,
Great.
happy, sad, neutral,
Mad?
not here anymore.
I'd say they're still here.
Transitioning
watching?
into a werewolf. I think it's a full moon.
Is it?
I don't know.
I don't know why I looked at my watch.
Yeah, I don't know.
You did either.
I don't know why I looked at my beads.
But yeah, any other questions, let us know. We can cover anything that's SAT, ACT related.
Or
or
Brendan's personal life.
Brady. Every time. It works 60% of the time. All the time. We always be window washers.
Yeah, maybe we should get one of those.
Just a squeegee.
No, the man.
I thought that might be where you were going. No, it just hires someone to... He just runs up...
Midstream, we just have a little cart thing drop down from the
Just a
ceiling.
tiny
and
person.
Goes like that, and then goes back up.
Oh, I'm thinking like this is a skyscraper version of just like a small man on a little thing that's just...
Oh, it's a giant...
It's taking...
You know,
it's Yeah, no, I mean...
building window.
We just
Got
write,
it.
and as we go, he's slowly erasing it
Got
as
it.
we go. And, yeah, anyway. So, any other questions related to the SAT, ACT?
Brendan's personal
It
life.
could be about, college applications. I know most seniors now, I guess seniors are kind of done. Some colleges will let you continue to take the SAT and ACT to get scholarships. Amber Muffin had said something about that recently. So, using your noggin, go ahead and, put in a little bit more time and effort and hopefully make some money. And by that, I mean pay less to go to school. Last thing you want is debt after college.
I think it's pronounced debit.
That's a debit card.
Right.
And they kind of work similarly, but don't do that. Don't do that.
Debit.
Debt.
Like I'm deep in debit.
No, like D-E-T. Debt.
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 Debt one.
Makes me think of like Tutankhamun, like King Tut. It's debt.
King Tut. That actually had a silent B.
I hate you.
Tut. T-U-B-D.
W-T. All right. We could just start going over other topics.
There's also debt like this, but it's like a department.
Yeah, I don't ever know how to pronounce it. I just think department.
I think it's also pronounced debit.
I hate you. If someone who watches you get 36 or 1600, will you stream Fortnite? If you want to see me stream Fortnite, I can do that. I'm not good because I don't have a good computer for it, so I have to use a controller, and it's just so difficult to do on a small little controller what a mouse and keyboard allows you to do.
Yes.
But sure. Yeah, you know what? If you want, we can. And I could, you know what? If that's really what you want, Storm, you can be the one person ever who watches me, and I can stream it on my personal Twitch account. I have friends who stream, and they're doing pretty good today. They had like 130 people watching.
That's pretty hip hop.
Yeah, they're doing well. It is also a holiday
Yes.
for their viewers who are in school.
Yes.
But yeah, they're also full time now.
Storm, if you get a 33, are you taking the ACT? ACT. So if you get a 33 on the ACT and an 8, oh no, this is more important.
Herschel. I wanted to say Herschel, but that's definitely not it. H. Schraub.
Herschel.
Herschel?
Herschel.
Hey, Herschel. So what's going on in Brendan's personal life?
Well, a whole lot of...
I'm actually the expert here.
Yes.
Taking the ACT in April. Great. Well, you've got time.
Is that
you
what
should continue practicing with us and on your own. You should not be only using us. You should be using all the free resources
Brendan, are you
made available to you.
Yeah, I think you want to talk about your personal life.
I think you want us to talk about
Go
your
back.
personal life.
Herschel. Is Herschel someone I know
It's someone I
in
know.
real life? It is?
Yeah. Brendan's personal life
Oh,
is
no.
very, very vibrant of recent. What?
Okay.
It is. It's very vibrant.
The thing that we talked about at dinner cannot be said on this.
I don't know what you're talking about.
No, but seriously.
That would be hilarious.
I would be very upset.
Yes. Don't.
It has nothing to do with me. It has to do with someone else in a surprise.
Oh,
So-
yeah, someone else who's...
I will.
I didn't even know what
Classic.
that meant. I'm not going to bring that up.
Yeah. Okay.
No, let's
I
not.
didn't bring it up. Brendan brought it
Brendan
up.
had a friend over
Brendan,
tonight.
not Brandon. Come on now.
Brendan had a friend over tonight, and they
Sounds
made
personal.
dinner with each other. You guys made dinner with each other?
Yes,
Yeah, we
they
made
dinner.
each cut off a limb of the other person and toss it in the pan. Made
Okay,
dinner
when
with
you
each other.
do.
Yeah.
Oh, hey Amber.
He
When
doesn't
I do
have a
the
left
ACT
leg right
reading,
now.
should I read the entire passage first?
These are
We
the
can go
guys
over
that
strategies. We can go over reading strats.
I gotta go. I have a child.
Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah, you do.
Yeah.
Just breathe deep.
Hey Amber, good
Breathing.
to see you.
Yeah.
Who is your? Is that someone from high school or someone from college?
College.
Do I don't know. Okay.
Okay, so
Reading
ACT
section.
reading. Do you want to go first? Or you want me to go
Yeah,
first?
I'll go first. So my strategy is different than Levi's. So I tend to read fairly quickly. I don't have much of a problem with the time. It's still a rush, but I am able to read through the whole reading passage. Now, if you're not a very fast reader, I would recommend against that. But there are still things I like to do that I think can be quite helpful. And this can go for either the SAT or ACT. because you're taking the ACT and the ACT is coming up this month, or I guess, early February, and the SAT is until March, we'll go through that a little more specifically. I recommend glancing through the questions first. So not trying to answer them, but just reading through them. And then any one of them that has a line number, I want you to maybe mark it so you know, but go and find that line and just put a line next to it. So that way you know as you read through, oh, there's a line number here. This is going to a question. Let me read this in context and then go and answer it. Because lots of times if you just read through and then you get to that question, you have to go back and reread the surrounding context to then answer it. And that wastes time. And it may only waste 20 to 30 seconds, but if there's 10 questions like that, that's 5 minutes in a test where you might have 35 minutes to read and do the whole thing. So it can actually save you a good amount of time. It adds up. So I would recommend that. Herschel, thank you for the follow. I would recommend going through and glancing and say, hey, are there any questions like this? Are there vocab and context questions, right? Same thing. They'll give you a line number. Go ahead and mark that.
Herschel's following me.
Yeah, cool.
Classic.
Yeah, that was, I hate you. That was funny though. So continuing. Something that happens, Levi, can you scroll on this to get down? For some reason it's not tracing to the next thing. Can you go to here?
Yes,
go to the
got
chat.
it. Yes.
Thank you.
Of course.
There are specific questions on the ACT that are accept questions. Hey, thanks. We'll let Brady know. And we will definitely blame him. It's fine. ACT has questions that are accept questions, and that will be something along the lines of, all of these were in the story except for this one. And those are hard because you have to have either remembered every single thing you read and be able to say, oh, I know from memory while speed reading that this one wasn't in there. Okay, that's difficult to do. So if you glance at the questions first, you can see that there is an accept question. What you can do is read it and actually spend time, however long it takes you to read the question, but be aware, cognizant as you go through this that, oh, here are the 4 things they're talking about that I'm trying to see if they are in this passage. So read them, remember them, and as you read through, when you get to that, just cross it off, right? And that can help you save time on some of those questions that are time sucks. The other thing is, even if you read quickly like I do, the real trick, or what you're really trying to do when you read through the passage, and this is even with Levi's strategy, you want to be able to have an idea of where everything is located in the passage. So you don't have to remember everything word for word. That'd be very impressive.
Wait, am I explaining mine or are you explaining mine?
I'm explaining this because this works for either of us.
Very good.
You want to be able to know where things are in the passage. So if it's talking about a boy who's training, runs a race, and then goes to college because of a scholarship, you want to know that, oh, they're talking about, when he got injured. Okay, well, that is here right before, some big meet, before college, and before, before a scholarship and all that. You want to know where relatively this information is found. So when you read through it, you want to be thinking, kind of making a mental map, we like to say, of where everything is located, because that's going to help you immensely, more than just being able to read and memorize everything in there. And I think those are all my strategies and tips. I might remember some as you go through, but I think I covered it all. Levi, it does not help him to go and do what I did, which is reading the questions first and finding the line numbers and doing that. So everything we're saying right now, what I just said and what he's about to say, take it with a grain of salt. Go and practice it for yourself and see what works for you, because this isn't like science, where science, the right way to approach it is to not read it, go to the questions, and then read what they tell you to read. Reading it has to work for you, so you have to practice it and see what works. You might do something that we haven't told you to do, and it might work better for you. That's fine. There's so many ways that this could work for you, and the only way you're going to find out the best way is to take a couple practice tests, do a couple of different strategies, and see which one helps you get the best score in the quickest amount of time. And also, the more you take the test, the more you take the reading section and these sections that are more fast-paced, the more relaxed you're going to get, which is going to make you more comfortable, and you're going to be able to do better with it anyway.
Yes.
Yeah, more or less. If you're not taking the approach to science where you don't read it first and you go to the questions and then read what they tell you or point you to, you are statistically going to do worse unless you're just the fastest reader in the world and you know every science topic they're talking about, it's a waste of time to read what's given to you.
Yes.
That is the right approach.
Yeah.
But for reading, it's what works best for you.
Yes.
So if you're a fast reader, I recommend trying to read through it quickly and starting by glancing through the questions and marking it so you don't have to read things twice. Levi.
Okay, so
I'll
my
walk
way.
away.
Yeah, so don't listen to anything Brendan said in the last 10 minutes or so.
If you're a slow reader, although no, some of the things I said can still be useful to you if you do not read quickly, but you have to try them out to see if they're good or not. Levi's just a little jaded over here.
As I said, don't listen to anything Brendan said, okay?
You're wrong.
If you're a very slow reader like me, there are a bunch of ways to do it. My favorite way to do it is I skim the paragraphs until I know what's going on. So I read a sentence, and I read it closely. And then I get a sense of what's going on. I'm looking for specific words that are important. So things that are capitalized, names, places, people, relationships to other people, events, things like that. And I circle them. I circle them just so I can find with my eyes quickly later. And I go through the entire passage in no more than a minute. And I get a sense of where things are. I know the topic, and I can tell you this is what it's generally about. But I don't know the details. And I know the big names and the big places and anything like that. And then I go to the questions. And I make sure to never do the big idea questions first. So if they say, what's the main purpose of the passage? Or what's the big idea? Or what does the narrator think? Like this. Those things, I don't answer them. I answer, okay, in line 56, the word blank most nearly means whatever. So you do the vocab and context first. You do the simple ones first, build up your understanding. And you can use, to do those things quickly, you know where everything is because you've made that mental map that Brendan mentioned. Okay, so that's my way of doing it, but never do what Brendan says. Remember that.
Everything I say is correct. Yeah, there it is.
Very good, Amber. Very good. Just don't, science, don't read the passage. That is crazy tough. Don't do it.
Oh, that was an I and not an L, so it couldn't have been Herschel.
Nah, it's definitely Herschel.
Well, there we go anyway.
Yeah. Okay, any other questions would be phenomenal. The last time I took the SAT was the only time I had left. Oh, that's good.
Could I do Levi's approach really fast?
Could you do my... Yeah.
Like if you're a fast reader, you could still do it his way.
You can always do my approach. It's a more I see it as a very logical approach because you don't have time like you do in high school where you read a book and you understand the book and then they ask you questions about your general understanding of the book. I don't have time for that because I read like a snail that's learning to read because snails don't read. It's dumb. Okay, so who of the people viewing, how many people read slowly? 1,
You.
2, 3, 4. 4 of you. Great. So 4 of you read very slowly. So this is for you. Sorry?
Clever. You're funny.
We don't have a studio audience. It's just Brendan.
Well,
and my reflection. I'm not sure what you mean, Storm, about could you do my approach really fast? But yes, you can do it quickly. You can do it right now if that's what you meant. I find it very quick. I don't finish with any time left when I have to do an ACT section quickly. But definitely, in general, do the simpler questions first because it allows you to build up your understanding of the passage. If you see big idea, main idea, do not answer it until the last. And then go back and do the ones that you had trouble doing the first round, whatever it was. Okay, any other questions on that, on other things, Brendan's personal life? That's all there is, really. Why are there lines on the board? Don't know what that means.
Oh, it's because of the chat right next to your arm. So the chat is being displayed.
Oh, this. Yeah, those are, so we can read the chat. I have a monitor on the other side of the screen, so you see a bit of the reflection. That's what it is. We're working on a couple of things that it's a little haptic feedback thing you put on your neck, and it'll buzz Morse code to us so we know what you're all saying, but it's a little distracting, and it actually changes the timbre of your voice a little bit. Yeah. Any questions? I'm sure there are other questions. You can ask questions. Socratic things. Socratic a question. Well, I gotta go eat. I'll catch you guys tomorrow. Yes,
Hey.
those are two independent clauses. You gotta separate them with a semicolon, a colon, a period, or a comma fanboys. Just saying. Cool. We have about 25 minutes by storm. So we can go over whatever you want. We have 25 minutes, so we can go over whatever you want. So we have about 25 minutes, so we can go over whatever you want.
Stop doing that. Ooh,
Sorry.
ouch. I'm getting old, man.
You're getting older
My knee popped
all
in
the time.
both places. I don't even know how that's possible.
You only have one knee. That's impossible.
Well, one knee popped twice. Boom, boom. Okay. Yeah. So we just answered a good amount of questions about the essay and the reading section. We went over the math, or some of the math, and a decent amount of the science section today in terms of approach. What other questions do you guys have? If you weren't here for the beginning and you aren't familiar with function notation, you can ask us and we can go over that again. If you have, I don't know, what do you not know? What's the greatest thing you could ever learn? Something that is better. No, something that is better than just knowing everything, because that's boring. I think it'd probably be boring. Is financial aid. I can talk about that from a personal standpoint. There are about 49 schools, 47, I think. Okay. There are lots of schools that offer financial aid.
Great, Amber.
Do your FAFSA.
For those of you not on Twitch, Amber is messing with us.
Amber thinks she's fun. You know what else Amber did? She said she was going to share our Facebook post with other people, and she didn't. You did your FAFSA. Wow. I had my parents do it. CSS? Like...
Oh, you did. Thank you,
Oh,
Amber.
thanks. I don't know. I'm just giving you trouble. We did have someone share, and it was hidden, so I was like, oh, someone did this. Someone was helpful and useful. I thought you were tossing the marker behind you.
Nope, just itching.
Every night you've been posting it? Well, we appreciate that.
You're an
Thanks.
animal in the positive way. I meant that positively.
This is what I was talking about earlier. There are words that used to be bad things, and now they're good. Right? Like, before the 60s, if you said someone was bad, that was a bad thing. And then there was like a time after that where it's like, man, you're bad. And that was a good thing. And then like now kids are like, oh, you're savage. And that was a very not nice thing to say. And now it's like, yeah, you're cool. Like, it's so weird how language works, guys. Okay. Everyone's on a trip with the school. Your school does trips?
All schools do trips.
Speak for yourself.
I'm speaking for you, and your school did trips.
Yeah? Go ahead.
Yes.
Tell me what trips I went on.
You went to
Go
the
ahead.
local farm.
Nope.
And
Oh, college tours. I promise you we didn't have that. I know we didn't
didn't
have
do
that.
college tours either.
We had, you were allowed 2 days off your senior year to go and check out colleges. And I was not stoked about that. I went to a number of colleges and I'm like, guys, like, you really can't. Local farms? Yeah, I grew up in a small farming community, whatever. Like, I was not.
Are you sure?
Yeah. Also, I told you about, so I have a friend, well, a girl I went to high school with who was on Netflix. She did a show on Netflix. And she described she described our hometown the same way I did. And I was like, all right, I'm not the only one who like talks about it that way.
That's good.
It was really nice to hear the song. It's like, yeah, it's just kind of this small town outside of St. Louis that just like, it's a farming thing. Anyway. Down. Or can you just scroll? Yeah. Can't afford. Right? Yeah. That's why you just get them to pay for it. Get the college to pay for it. College tours be expensive, man. I tell you, I did not. I'll tell you. Oh no, I'm my grandpa. Ugh. Let me tell you. I was not able to go to our admit weekend at college where they like, can you go over something you did in the beginning? Danielle, absolutely. We went over function notation. We can start with that. But yeah, Amber, to continue that slight little tangent, there's a weekend where they try to convince all the admits, all the students who are admitted into the college to go there instead of to other great colleges, kind of. And it's supposed to be like this huge fanfare, and I didn't get to do it because the flights are expensive.
I didn't do it either.
Yeah, I didn't either. So Danielle, we went over function notation. And this is just another way that people can express equations. So they'll say f of x, an example might be f of x equals 3x plus 2. And something to note is that sometimes they'll write this to remind you that y equals f of x, which equals 3x plus 2. But f of x is really just another way to write y. That is something that really confuses students. It means the function here evaluated at x equals this value. So you're saying this is y when x equals whatever this value is. But it would be Stanford's admit day? Yeah, I didn't get to go. Kind of bummed. It was supposed to be a great weekend. But money. Yeah. So, and I had already gotten to go and visit with the team. So, this is really what it's talking about. Why would they need to convince you? Because some of those kids also got into the Ivies and MIT and Northwest, all these places that are like, oh, great colleges. And they're like, well, which one do I want to go to? And honestly, what I recommend, and something that I don't think the coaches liked when I was at college, spoilers here, I recommended students not just to go to the college because of what the college was. Now, I also said don't go to a college because the coach is better. Because in my sport, you don't make money no matter how good you are. That's just not how it works. What you really want to focus on is going to a school that you fit in at. Now, don't give up a great opportunity academically to go to a party school. That's not what I mean. If that's your choice and that's how you want to live your life, I will have difference of opinions, and
But
that's
it's
how
wrong.
you do it.
You're
It's
bad.
I would not recommend it. What I'm saying is if you have a lot of schools that are all similar tier in terms of what they can offer, then what you want to decide is, well, which one of these places will I fit in the best? Or which one of these places will challenge me the most, if that's what you're looking for, right? Which one of these will stretch me more as an adult or a young adult, right? Which place do I feel like will give me the best opportunity to be the best me I can be? Yeah. Amber, there's tons of different reasons to choose. I'm just saying that you're going to have to be there for 4 years, and you really want to enjoy those 4 years. It's about getting a good education, but it's not. You have the rest of your life to work and spend time sitting at a cubicle, or maybe changing the world, doing something great. However, because of that, you want to have those 4 years be productive, informative, and you want to enjoy that. You suck at communication. Well, all you gotta do is practice. You just gotta start communicating. Levi, for some reason this is still not scrolling all the time. Can you? I'm sorry.
That's dumb.
I know. But back to function notation for Daniela from Facebook. So, doing something great like this. Well, thank you. We hope this is great. I mean, it'd be great if more students could benefit, but there's plenty of time for more people to learn about this. Have I been very emphatic?
I don't know.
All right. So function notation, f of x really is saying that f of x is y when x in this equation is some value. For example, if I have f of 5, that's going to be 3 times 5 plus 2. Because I'm asking for y when x equals 5. I'm solving that, and I'm getting 17. All right, same thing. That is function notation at the very, very lowest level. It can get a little more complicated if you have g of x over here, and I set that equal to 2x, because then I can do something like g of f of x. Now, f of, what's a number I want? I'll just say 1. At this point, I evaluate the inner function. I want to just think about f of 1. That's going to be 3 plus 2, or 5, and then I'm going to replace that. So now I have g of 5. I say that g is 2x, so that is 5 times 2, or 10, and that is my answer. So this equals 10. Daniela, is that helpful? Does that make sense? Also, were you the student, or were you the person who had asked about the SAT essay? If so, let us know. All right. Yeah, Amber, there's so many things that determine where you want to go to college. It shouldn't. Definitely, if your choices are between the junior college down the road and an Ivy League school, I think that is a much more straightforward choice of you should probably try to go to the Ivy League school if you're wanting to have a 4-year degree and you know what you want to do and you have, it's going to give you a better education because it's going to force you to do the work that 99.9% of people won't put in at a junior college. I'm not saying that they're lazy. That's not it at all. Yeah, I got it. Yes, you were. Great. Levi, we have a student. Can you ask the question again? Because I'm not sure exactly what you had asked Daniela about the essay. But Amber, not to say that you can't do great things out of a junior college. It's just that going to, for example, at Stanford, the questions and the homework and all the practice sets, the homework was very difficult, right? They made me put in more work than I personally would have put in at a school that was easier, right? Where the assignments weren't as difficult. I would have been lazier because I was anywhere between 18 and 22, and the last thing on my mind was trying to worry about putting in enough work now so I don't have to in 20 years, right? So if you have that motivation, you can get just as good of an education anywhere. But it's a lot easier to get a better education at these schools where they force you to do the work. You can't what, Amber? Sorry, I don't know when you put I can't. Sorry. But yeah, Daniela, what was the question exactly about the SAT? I think you'd asked if it was rhetorical analysis. You're sorry about what, Amber? You can't do something great like us? Because that's false. Oh, you lagged out. All good. Mostly I was answering function notation. Don't worry about it. Levi, can you check the Facebook?
Yeah, nothing's doing.
Well, there was a message. I see the SAT essay. It was like a rhetorical analysis. Yes. Levi, do you want to get more in depth than just a simple yes?
Yes.
Heard it here first, folks. Yes. All right.
Yeah, I'll take a little bit more time to say it. Yes. It is like a rhetorical analysis.
You can't attend because you already have your associates. Well, that's a good start, though. It's not a bad thing.
Okay, so this SAT essay. They give you an essay, right? So it's somebody else's essay. And they have their little thesis, maybe. And then they have their arguments. And then that's their little essay. And then you write your little essay. And your little essay is not arguing against them or for them or anything like that, but it is arguing how they made their argument. That's what they care about. So and it's probably easier to talk about thinking their argument was good, just because it's easier to argue positively than negatively for these types of things, I think. You can do what you want, though. So your intro, and I'm not going to... They also say this in their literature. They don't care exactly your format. So they're not looking for a 5-paragraph essay, because that's what I learned in high school. That doesn't really matter. What matters is that you give them what you're arguing, or I call it a thesis, and then you support your thesis, and then you conclude in some way. So your intro is going to have what they argued, they being whoever wrote this other essay that's given to you. So here you're going to have to read an essay. You have to read somebody else's essay. And then you're going to say they did good or bad, whatever you want. Don't say it like that, but you're going to say they did a good job arguing, or they successfully argued their point using these things. So that's your intro. And then you have your support. Let's call it that. These are your body paragraphs. I don't know what you call them or what you've learned, but
This is your support. So it's going to be they used blank rhetorical tool, and then you have another one, and hopefully another one if you have time. If not, 2 is fine. I would say definitely 2, 3, 4 if you have time. Aim for 3. And then conclude. The conclusion doesn't need to be anything special. Honestly, it shouldn't be. Don't worry about it. I'm not even going to fill it in. It's just whatever you want it to be. I would recommend you just restate the intro, essentially. You know, using these things, the author of the whatever used the thing. Okay, so this is the outline for what it should look like. You can basically copy this. Can be this simple. This is what they argued. This was their thesis, and then they successfully argued their point, or not. And then these are the things they did and how they succeeded. Now, the important thing. Do you have a blue marker?
No.
Okay. Do you have green?
I got yellow and orange.
Blast.
Sorry.
Just a second. Nope. Pink. Okay.
Why not red, my lord?
There's no red, mate. Okay.
Why not?
Now, here is the thing that's going to help your essay a lot. When you're writing the support, take into account who the author is and who the audience is, because that is what's going to put your essay to the upper level of the analysis that they're grading on. So it's going to be the relationship between author and audience. This is extremely important because if you don't do this, your essay is just going to be, well, they used an alliteration. An alliteration is not a particularly effective rhetorical tool for convincing somebody of something. Now, it could be if your author happens to be a poet and the audience happens to be a group of people that are hypnotized to sleep or hypnotized into agreeing with you every time they hear an alliteration, but that doesn't make any sense. So don't pick out alliteration, but you need to keep in mind who the author and audience are. So if we have Julius Caesar giving a speech to his soldiers, and he tells a story. So the first one is tell a personal anecdote, okay? This is a perfectly legitimate piece of rhetorical toolage that you could have an entire paragraph on. But you're not just going to say, Julius Caesar told a personal story about when he was a young boy. It's got to be, Julius Caesar told a story about when he was a young boy to demonstrate how to be courageous because his audience is a bunch of soldiers in Greece? Oh my gosh. I'm so sorry. I don't know when Julius Caesar was in charge of Rome, right?
Well,
Which is in...
I mean, it depends on, I mean, the empire was pretty big that time.
I'm so sorry. I don't know anything. Thank you, Scotta. I don't believe you.
Scotta.
So...
Also, hey Scotta, what's up? Good to see you.
So, personal anecdote that hits on the idea of courage, because courage matters to this audience. That is the important part. So, you're saying how these rhetorical tools were used and why they were used specifically for this relationship. Okay, so rhetorical tools doesn't do anything else if you don't include that.
Levi?
Yes.
You're not going to like this.
What am I not going to like?
Scotta's right.
I'm sure Scott is right. Yeah.
Yeah, it is wrong.
I believe Scotta. I got a 2 on the AP U.S. History exam.
I didn't even take.
I took it and I realized I didn't know if the U.S. began in the 1700s or the 1800s. So I was just cooked. I remembered no dates. It was very bad. I have a very, very bad memory. Okay, Daniela, does this make sense to you? I hope you're still here. This is the most important thing to get a good score on the essay, in my opinion. But this is a necessity for getting a score at all. You definitely want an understandable form to your essay so that these graders who are, I assume, utterly miserable are going to be able to quickly grade and find the pieces that you're sharing. If there are no questions on that, I will erase. Scotta, do you have any questions? I'm sure you can come up with a question that might be interesting.
We can tell you about some of the best pizza places where you're going to be going to college.
Yeah, they're in New Jersey.
No, that is false. That is false.
It's not.
I am the dollar slice guru. Yes, thank you. You're welcome. How do I get a good credit score? Seriously, the way, truly, how I did it. If your parents have one, they can co-sign with you, and so it's just.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
It's a card that they manage, and you just start to build up credit because of it.
Yeah.
You can also just get a credit card and spend $1 on it a month, and as long as you pay it off, you're fine.
If there's anything else you want to know, please ask.
So nice.
But hopefully that cleared it up for you to an extent. But yeah, practice a little bit and come back and ask questions to clarify.
You can ask tomorrow.
Yes.
We are on every...
Or the next day.
Or the next day. And the next day.
And then not the day after that, because it's Friday.
It's a SpongeBob thing, and you're just not getting it.
No, I got it.
No, you didn't.
And I moved on.
You didn't watch the show.
But yeah, you can get a credit card and do that.
The thing is, it's what improves your score is how long you've had a credit card, which is so insane, in the fact that you use it and can pay it off. So they don't care if you go and buy a pack of gum, or if you buy a house, which would be ridiculous to buy a house off a credit card. But anyway, they don't care as long as you can pay it off every month.
I had a teacher who did that in high school. He said for 30 years he was paying off that card.
Well, what my dad did when he bought cards, so they stopped this. There was a loophole and they got rid of it. But you could buy a card use a card to pay something off and have a year and a half with no interest. And then the interest would start. So he would do that, and then a year and a half later use another card to take all of that and not have to pay any interest, and then get another card every year and a half or so.
That's good.
And just no interest payments. Can't do that anymore.
He's going to bequeath that card unto you.
Yeah, no, you just can't do it anymore.
Okay.
It's just a shame. But yeah, it's actually pretty straightforward.
Okay, we have about 2 minutes left. So if anybody has a last-minute question, let us know. If you have questions for tomorrow, also let us know. Or just come back tomorrow.
Tell your friends. Yeah. For those of you who aren't aware, Daniela 100% is aware of this, and Amber is as well. We are now streaming on Facebook Live. So if you feel the need and you'd like to, you can now share this with all your friends who are also taking the tests and who need help. Who need free help. Or maybe just want help. But, you can do that now in an easier way. Hey, thanks, Amber. Hey, just tuned in and already liked it. Devil's Lawyer 666. Well, thanks, Devil's Lawyer.
Good thing you like it.
Yeah, why'd you twist
We're happy about that.
Because, Scotta, they don't have one for education. And if I put just chatting, I feel like that's some weird ASMR stuff. Or stop it.
Oh, yes, it is. Dang it.
Yes, but actually, thank you.
Scotta,
if there was a better thing... Ideally, Scotta, we get big enough to where they make an education thing because we've created a need for that category.
Amber, come on.
Yeah, apostrophe. All right. Unless it is the welcome of us. It is our welcome.
Anyway. Yeah, that's probably what it was.
Yeah, sure.
Oh,
hey,
goodness.
Thanks for the follow, Devil's Lawyer 666. That's such a silly, fun name.
I feel like I'm being followed.
Yeah.
Or watched.
It was funnier the first time. Doing it every time is not the best.
Yeah, no star at the end of it. Take that off. That's not on the test.
You're the worst person ever. But yeah, so if you think this is helpful, Devil's Lawyer, are you in high school? Are you going to be taking the SAT or ACT?
Or do you have children of high school age? Like maybe Devil's Child. Or, no, you're actually the lawyer. So, lawyer's child. Which you may have sold to the devil. Bartered.
Hijo de abogado.
Right.
Son of warrior. Yeah.
Right. Oh, avocado.
Abogado.
Yeah, similar.
I'm in college. We have a niece in high school wanting help. Hey, there you go. We do this for free. We
don't want to teach her.
We do one-on-one private tutoring if they would like to pay for that. But if not, they can do this for free all the time. This is 5 nights a week, 8 to 9:30 p.m. Eastern. And it's also on Facebook. It's still Nerdish with a 3 instead of an E.
We do teach nieces.
Nephews, on the other hand, we're a little bit skittish about. We tutor. I don't know. You
Yeah.
said Nisa.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you guys think this is helpful and you'd like to share it, please do. Now it's easier. We also were doing this on YouTube Live. For those of you who aren't aware, my uncle's nephew's a cool guy. Yeah, do you have a brother?
Is he modest? Gosh.
Where were you and where were we when you were in high school? Probably in college, if you're in college
Yeah.
now. We're not too far removed from college.
Did you even think that through? That question.
I like that people ask that, though. It's like, it feels good to be like, oh, this is useful.
Yeah.
But maybe not.
My mom asked me that. She's
Well,
so dim.
You know
She's
your
not.
parents
She's
might be
very
watching.
smart. Dad, if you're watching.
It's a joke. Well, not what
Yeah.
I said. What I said was accurate. She is very smart.
Okay, everybody,
yeah.
have a lovely evening. We will see you tomorrow. Well, we won't see you. You'll see us if you watch.
Yeah, 8 p.m. Eastern, and then our calendar, you can see what we're covering. Yeah, no, we got it. Thanks. We appreciate it.
Sorry.
That was hilarious.
That is willful misunderstanding, for sure.
Yeah, definitely did it on purpose.
Yes.
All right, we'll see you guys tomorrow.
Just gonna hold it. Hold it up. Oh no.